This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Another round of gun violence in the country leaves one man dead and others shot. Immigration Minister Bell pledges to address the immigration matters in the House next week. And in our discussion today, members of the entertainment community, they are lamenting the state of things today. Can anything be done to salvage live entertainment in the country? It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, July 21st, 2023. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Stephen Han will be joining us. Also this morning, a Morning Blend Business. It's our monthly Morning Brand series. Today we're talking about rebranding. What exactly should that entail, and when to know when you need to do it? That and more coming up in Morning Brand in Morning Blend Business. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, a man murdered during a shooting off Market Street that left another man suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. An hour after that shooting, police say two men were also shot in the area of Quarry Mission Road. The first shooting happened around 3 p.m. Police say two men were talking on Dean's Alley off Market Street when a white Japanese vehicle drove near them. One of the men in the car got out and began shooting at the men. One of the victims was shot in the upper torso, back, and right arm and survived. He was in the hospital and last listed in stable condition. The other victim was pronounced dead on arrival at Princess Margaret Hospital. Then around 4:15 p.m., two men were standing in the street in the Quarry Mission Road area when they were approached by people in a Champagne Nissan. The occupants began shooting at them, hitting them in the legs. The victims taken to the hospital and were listed in stable condition. Police asking for anyone with information to reach out to them. A man acquitted of an armed robbery that took place in 2019. Bradshaw Demerit was accused of robbing Joe's Ice Cream Parlor on Brome Street on November 19, 2019. Prosecutors alleged that Demerit and others, while armed with a handgun, took $240, a cell phone, and a pink purse. Police alleged that Demerit was arrested 2 streets away from the crime scene and that he confessed upon his arrest. Demerit denied making a confession and said that police beat him while in custody. The 9-member jury unanimously acquitted Demerit of the charges following a trial before Justice Wilhelmina Archer Mins. After the verdict, Demerit thanked his lawyer and said he had lost 2 years of his life. Now, despite his acquittal, Demerit remains in custody as he's serving a 3-month sentence for failing to charge his ankle monitor. A man convicted after A loaded gun was found in a bathroom at the Grove Police Station, acquitted on appeal. The Court of Appeal found that trial magistrate Samuel McKinney erred by not acquitting Dino Smith at the close of the prosecution's case. On May 18, 2022, Smith and his girlfriend, Annette Johnson, were stopped by officers attached to the Operation Ceasefire program. No gun was found during a subsequent search of their vehicle. However, the pair was detained on suspicion of armed robbery after the officers found $8,000 cash. They were transported to the Grove Police Station pending further investigations. 2 days later, on May 20th, Johnson was allowed to use the bathroom after it was searched by Sergeant Henfield. After Johnson was returned to her cell, Henfield received information that caused her to search the bathroom again. That's when they found a 40mm pistol with 13 rounds of ammunition inside the toilet tank. When questioned by officers, Johnson admitted to stashing the gun and ammunition in the bathroom. She claimed the gun belonged to her boyfriend and that she was afraid of him. She alleged Smith gave her the gun to hide when they were stopped by the male police officers because they couldn't search her. Following trial, McKinney convicted both Johnson and Smith and sentenced them to 2.5 years imprisonment, but the Court of Appeal ruled that the magistrate was wrong to find that Smith had a case to answer, as he could not be connected to the gun found in the station 2 days following his arrest. The court said that it is a well-known principle that a person can only confess for himself. Johnson has also appealed her conviction. Her case will be heard in September. And the 8-month sentence handed to a 24-year-old man caught with a loaded 9mm pistol increased to 2 years on appeal. The prosecution appealed the unduly lenient sentence handed to Scott McPhee by Senior Magistrate Carolyn Rogue Evans. In April, he pleaded guilty to possession of an unlicensed firearm and ammunition at his arraignment. Police officers were on patrol on Palm Beach Street when they saw a car run the traffic light. The car in which McPhee was a passenger was eventually stopped and searched. During the search, officers found a 9mm Kel-Tec pistol loaded with 4 rounds of ammunition inside his pants near his groin. McPhee said he had found the gun sometime before and kept it for his protection. In allowing the appeal against sentence, Justice of Appeal Stella Crane Scott said it was obvious that the magistrate did not consider the seriousness of the offense and the fact that the gun and ammunition were found in a public place. Having regard to the prevalence of gun crimes in the country, the appellate court said 2 years imprisonment was an appropriate sentence given the circumstances of crime. Immigration Minister Keith Bell says that during question time in the House Assembly next Wednesday, he will answer questions that have been asked of him on immigration matters of late. He says he will appropriately answer all questions thoroughly, substantively, and put everything to rest once and for all. It's unclear whether Bell intends to only answer immigration questions formally on the agenda or whether he'll be open to answering other questions put to him. And picking up where the Prime Minister left off in a hard-hitting address at a high-level forum in Brussels earlier this week, Attorney General Ryan Pinder, while speaking in the Senate yesterday, decried the indiscriminate and unfair practices of the European Union and its technical agencies against small island developing states like the Bahamas. He declared that the Bahamas will soon be off the EU's blacklist, but Pinder warned that the way powerful industrialized nations move the goalpost, the Bahamas could be required to meet even more stringent requirements in the near future. In sports, the Bahamas' 12-and-under team at the Babe Ruth Caribbean Baseball Championship and Invitational split its games on the first day of competition in the Blue Hill Sport Softball Complex. Thursday and got a convincing 27-0 shutout victory over the Cayman Islands in the first game, and then lost their second game 6-5 against Cuba. The team's currently in second place in Pool A with a 1-1 win-loss record, sitting behind Cuba, which is at 2-0. Manager of the Bahamian side, Stephen Burrows, says that his team had a slow start against Cuba. You can read more about what they're saying in today's Guardian Sports section. And one of the most popular local summer basketball classics, the Peace on the Streets tournament, gets underway Monday. That's July 24th, and it's promised to be a competitive one. It'll be held at the Hope Center on Bahamas Games Boulevard. The championship and fun night will move to Kendall Isaac's gym. Organizer of the classic, Carlos Reed, holding a press conference to launch the event yesterday. The classic will have 5 divisions consisting of 8 teams per division competing for the various championships. It'll wrap up on Sunday, June 30th with Family Fun Night. And that will feature a 3-point contest, slam dunk contest, the Pastors versus Politicians game, and the inaugural Women's Clergy and Politicians free throw competition. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by Nescafe Coffee. We've got the Atlantic high pressure system dominating the weather across the country, supporting high temperatures, a gentle to fresh breeze, and that plume of Saharan dust throughout the islands. Got a number of warnings. Beachgoers in the southeast Bahamas should be alert for rip currents along easterly beaches. Residents being advised to remain hydrated and avoid prolonged sun exposure during late morning and afternoon hours. And everybody who suffers from allergies or respiratory illnesses really should be careful as a result of the Saharan dust. For today, for the Northwest Bahamas, your forecast calling for partly sunny, hot, and hazy conditions with isolated showers or thunderstorms mainly in the extreme northwestern islands. Tonight should be fair and warm with isolated showers or thunderstorms in the extreme northwestern islands. Gusty winds and higher seas expected in showers and thunderstorms. Wind southeast to south at 5 to 10 knots. Falling light variable at times. Seas 1 to 3 feet. In the central and southeast Bahamas, mostly sunny, hot, and hazy with a chance of a passing shower. Breezy in the southeastern islands, becoming fair, warm, and hazy tonight. Smorecraft in the southeast Bahamas should exercise caution. Wind southeast at 10 to 15 knots in the central and southeastern islands. Central islands at easterly at 15 to 20 knots in the southeastern islands. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the central islands, but 4 to 6 feet in the central Bahamas. In the southeast Bahamas. Temperature is getting up to around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius today, but the heat index will make you feel like it's 108 Fahrenheit, 42 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to a very warm 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit. Your first look at weather brought to you by Nescafe Coffee. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold. You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Introducing Wendy's new Chimichurri Cheeseburger. Chimichurri. That's how you pronounce it. Let it roll off your tongue. Then get ready for some ridiculously good flavor. Fresh, herby, garlicky, green, chimichurri. It'll feel like a relaxing backyard get-together with friends on a Sunday. Put in a burger. Come meet Wendy's new Chimichurri Cheeseburger with our new Dave's Craft Lemonade. Wendy's, different inside and out.
Tired of paying too many bills and loan payments each month?
Shrink your monthly debt payments down to one easy payment with our debt consolidation loan.
It also has a built-in savings that pays you 5% interest.
Inquire about our debt consolidation loans today.
Call 356-7764.
There's a new electric vehicle in town, the Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans, available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pump behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing. Hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Stephen Hanna. Stephen Hanna, good morning. Great to have you with us, as always. Hope all's well. Friday.
That is what day it is.
Yes.
It's definitely Friday.
Feels like it should have been Friday a couple of days ago. But anyway, okay. Only one more Friday to go in the month, folks. This is, we are rushing. I don't know why, but, okay. Anyway, coming up this morning, we're going to be talking with some local entertainers who have been lamenting the state of affairs with live entertainment in the country and just how there's so many opportunities. Or there could be so many opportunities, but we seem to be blowing it. We're going to talk to them about that.
It's always an opportunity to blow something.
Yes, especially around here. So we're going to talk to them, have a great discussion with them about that this morning, and what they think can be done to encourage this industry. Later in our morning blend business hour, we're going to be talking about our monthly morning brand series. We're talking about rebranding and why that's important and how to not blow that. So that's coming up this morning. But let's talk about what else is in the news. And in the news, quite a few interesting headlines in the NASA Guardian today. AG blasts EU, following up on what the Prime Minister said about the European Union and blacklisting and moving the goalpost. But he's also assuring that the Bahamas will stand up to the big boys. I don't know. Okay. Until they push you down again and move further back. Right. But hey.
I mean, they make a good point, though.
Who's making a good point?
The Prime Minister and the AG.
Well, everyone's been saying that.
Yeah. Yeah.
For decades.
No, I mean, but like, it is even more like blatant now. And it's like, oh, this is clearly an attempt at you guys to undermine countries like the Bahamas so that you can get us for pennies on the dollar.
And then, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Well, so the easy solution is we can't play the same game that they play, because the game that they play is let's invest and speculate. What we need to do is produce. If we're producing stuff, you could say whatever you want to say. At the end of the day, a product is a product. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to get out of just service. No, we don't have to get out of service, but we have to get out of just service. Service can't be our main industry, because that depends on how much people are willing to pay for a service. But if you're talking about a product is a product. This is what it costs to produce it. Would you like it? Do you not want it? And then we go from there. And that would put us in a stronger position.
Well, okay, I hear you. I agree. Sounds great.
I'm saying, even like something as simple as, okay, you see inside right now.
Yeah, but you know how they go.
This ain't nothing to do with them.
Oh, I mean, because, right, I mean, don't expect them to be a market.
No.
They'll ban you stuff.
Good.
But that's what I'm thinking we should do, right?
We should produce stuff.
We need to show them while we do that.
Yeah.
At the same time, we don't have to sit back and take their foolishness, right?
The thing is, they only exist because of an idea. They built up a legend about themselves that they're this great, wonderful thing, but they're nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we need to start doing our own list, coming together with like-minded countries and do our own list about them.
A green book.
Boy.
A green book. No, like, and then say it, because then one of the big issues is, when you go to visit Paris, this giant cathedral was built because of this. When you go to visit Belgium.
Well, no, don't go. How about that?
Oh, sorry, you're right. Don't go to Belgium.
Right.
This giant cathedral was built by killing people inside the Congo and chopping off the hands of children. Right? You do that. And then you say, also don't watch Tintin and don't buy the books. You know what I'm saying? Like, you make sure that everybody is aware of, it's not greatness. It's not, the mythology that you guys have built up is built on the blood and back of free exploited labor. And now y'all turning around and saying, hey, you can't do what Switzerland does. You can't do what Ireland does. You can't do what Delaware does. Come on.
Yeah.
All right? And it's like, and these are things that we know. It's so prevalent and widespread that American television makes fun of the fact that people register their companies in Delaware because they're allowed to get away with murder. But the Bahamas is like, oh, well, we don't know what y'all doing down there, so blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? And then I will give the only half a point is also protect your people. We cannot continue this thing where no money is coming into the country through digital assets, legally or above board, because of whatever this thing is between the Bahamas and the IRS.
Okay, now you're really going into
deep.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I don't know where you really went. But okay. Sounds like a almost personal issue.
It is a personal issue, but it's also, my personal issue also affects hundreds, if not thousands of Bahamians.
Okay. Well, that sounds like we've got to do a show on that or something. All right. So that's happening there. More of this talk, which we hear every couple of years.
No, but I mean,
and we will continue.
We cannot keep depending on the hope of an investor coming because you're hoping for people to be good.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's a long-term thing. But in the short term, we don't have to take this. We really don't have to take this. And I keep saying it, a good message to be sent for various reasons would be the Paris Olympics. And there are other things that can be done as well.
Yeah, and then you're right. We should have a separate non-Olympic event that is with all the cool people, with all the actual fast people who decide to not participate in this foolishness, this charade, this shenanigans. All right?
I don't know who's going to fund that one, but okay.
If we all show up to a stadium, the hardest part would be deciding where to host it.
Okay, it's not that simple, but sure.
I'm just saying. Did you go to the last Olympics? No, we just need to get the athletes there.
What?
I'm just saying it's not as complicated.
Stay somewhere and eat and
that's we were going to pay for that anyway. The Olympics isn't sending us money for that. Well, we got to find that money anyway.
The few who would ever be part of something like this won't be able to host anything like that, unfortunately.
And that's
mainly
fine.
because of these same people.
We need to find a place to host it.
Yeah,
that's neutral or whatever.
Okay.
And go from there.
They're going to be at the Olympics. But okay. But hey, we have some time, about a year, to figure it out. So let's see. Other big stories in the paper. Keith Bell says he's going to answer the questions on immigration. It's more than immigration, though. He needs to answer some labor. Maybe he's lumping them all together in the House next week. Right? So it's not clear exactly if it's going to be questions that have already been put formally on the agenda or whether he'll be open to members asking him questions. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But maybe he should have a press conference every week because new things arise with his ministry daily, it seems. But we'll see. We'll see. But you think we'll finally get an answer on the slaps, the barber slaps?
No.
On the Atlantis questionnaire survey things? I mean, all these were supposed to take just a few days, and they've dragged on for months. So
I forgot about that.
Yeah, there's a whole lot. But so he'll be talking for quite a while if people ask the right questions. But anyway, we'll see. Maybe we'll refresh people's memories on Tuesday so they can ask on Wednesday. Okay. And of course, here we go. Another murder and more shootings. A man murdered during a shooting off Market Street yesterday that left another man suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. And then just about an hour after that, two men were standing in the street just 4 o'clock in the afternoon when they were approached by somebody in a car and they were shot. Boy. It's getting wild. I think I saw this in a movie about in the 30s about Chicago. You're just standing around and people pull up and shoot you and drive off. This is where we are.
You mean Scarface?
There's plenty of movies about that stuff, but we seem to be trying to make a new movie every day here. And I just don't know. I don't know what's going on, what's happening. But this is the life that the people of New Providence are living. Wow.
I don't have anything. I have nothing that I can add to it.
Yeah. Let's hear what you have to say, folks. Give us a call. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Or tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796 on the Guardian Radio text line. Let's hear what you have to say about that. All right, so interesting story in the Tribune. Give answers on violence probes. A human rights group wants the government to clarify the state of investigations. I think we were just talking about this the other day. The number of investigations that are outstanding. You don't know. They're investigating that. They're investigating this. And just on and on and on, waiting. Oh, you were still waiting. Like, are you serious?
You'll never find out.
Well, what? No. Okay. Why are you saying that? Why do we say that? Because we're willing to accept that, right? There's no way that you can show your face in public and you've got 10 outstanding investigations from 10 years ago.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
people just say, hey, how
That
you
is
doing?
also true.
No. I don't encourage violence, but you should.
There's nothing
There's some
violent,
things you should do.
but
Some things you should do, or turn your backs at least.
Yeah.
Just say hello and turn your, or not even, just and turn your back on the person. Everybody just turn your back on the person or walk out the room. Whatever it is. These people need to understand we are sick and tired of y'all. What are you doing? But everybody's like, oh, we'll never find out. Oh, they'll never do it. Oh, that's that. And they're happy. Yep, you're right. You all accept it, and we're going to do it. Or not do it. Well, we got to stop saying that. Let's stop saying that.
It's not, no.
I demand you
here's the
will
thing.
not be able to come in this store until you release the findings of that investigation that you started 25 months ago on that little tiny thing.
Burn down the store, but anyway. But the whole thing is like, the reason why I say it, it's important to say it so people know that I have no expectation of you. It's not even low. I have zero expectation.
No, they
of
love
you.
that.
No.
They love that.
They don't love it.
Yes,
because
they
you know what
do.
they want to be worship and upheld like how it is in the movies where it's like, oh,
That's the same thing. If you don't turn your back on them and turn off the lights
that-
and walk out,
me saying
then
I
that is
expect-
much more hurtful.
No, what I'm saying, I'm suggesting the whole turn.
They're still getting paid, Stephen. They don't mind.
I can't stop that.
When they get fired, they'll
But-
talk.
no,
they'll
but-
be on every talk show.
But you know what?
Suddenly,
But you know what isn't going to happen? I'm not going to go in the streets and protest for them to get more money. They're underpaid.
what?
I'm saying for
Some of them are not.
some of them aren't, but some of them are underpaid. But guess who isn't going to go marching in the streets in the hot
where did
sun,
that
burning
come-
up themselves for them?
Where'd that come from?
What?
Who said you should do that?
I'm saying I won't because and the public won't. The public will, if they believe in you, they'll say, "Yeah, man, we got to do for them. That's our boys, and they X, Y, and Z." But right now, the public confidence inside a lot of persons in a lot of positions is zero. Right?
All right.
And so it's like you see these establishments, institutions crumbling.
I hear excuses. All I'm hearing is
These aren't
excuses.
excuses. I'm saying they're crumbling around them, and they're like, "Oh, we need this and we need that." And it's like we all need to do better as well.
Okay.
And so it's all it is all a part. We're saying the same thing. Where it's like you and I agree with you. And I said it before. Where it's like somebody walks inside a building, and they walk into church, and the pastor tells you to stand up for this government official.
Spit on the ground.
And I'm not going to waste I'm not going to dehydrate myself doing that. Just don't stand up. What am I standing up for? Right? You understand what I'm saying? Like, if this person offends you so much, right? Why am I wasting good calories and energy doing squats to get up and down?
All right, let me read a little bit of this story. So, Human Rights Bahamas is urging the government to be more forthright about the status of investigations into alleged misconduct by law enforcement officers. In a statement yesterday, HRB said it was calling upon the Minister of National Security, Wayne Monroe, and Minister of Immigration, Keith Bell, to report to the nation on the progress of investigations into allegations of official violence against officers who fall within their purview. Over the last several months, a number of highly concerning claims of brutality by members of the armed forces have been made public. These include 2 Haitian barbers allegedly beaten by immigration officers, children in Bimini allegedly beaten by police, and a man hospitalized after being beaten and suffocated in police custody.
Suffocated doesn't mean
Right. But I don't know if I've ever heard
It's not like electrocuted.
I don't know if I heard about that one. It is
You would not be able to keep track.
right. That is true.
That is
That is very true.
40% of the people
Oh, dear.
who are on trial right now, part of their defense is the police suffocated me. So it's like you will never be able to keep track of that.
My goodness.
And anyway, go ahead, finish.
Yeah. So the group is saying, quote, is unacceptable in a democracy such as ours to have officers of the law who believe they can take the law into their own hands. Might does not make right. And even the appearance that armed agents of the state now believe it is acceptable to attack and harm civilians should alarm and disgust all right-thinking members of the public. Official silence in these matters is unacceptable. HRB calls upon the Minister of National Security to and the Commissioner of Police, the Director of Immigration, and the Minister of Immigration to speak publicly about what is being done to deal with the growing impression that citizens and residents of this country need to live in fear of those trusted to protect us.
You know what they need to do? Do the exact same thing that everybody else does to get attention. All right? Get a billboard and have on the billboard, and you don't have to put it downtown because we try to embarrass you in front of the tourists. Put it where?
The highways.
No, put it right by the detention center, right? Like, you know where the intersection is from Carmichael Road. Put it right there, so every time somebody would drive past, say, hey, what about those two barbers?
Why there?
I'm saying, for whatever the situation is, you put it close by where the people who are responsible for answering
Let me
the
tell you what
questions
will
are.
happen. So
Will they knock it down? Like
there are billboards up for events that took place in February, maybe even November.
Good.
They're still up. That one will go up, will go down within moments of it going up.
And you know
somehow,
what?
some way,
Put it back up.
it'll be split in 2 or 3.
Let's not pretend, because during the 50th anniversary, somebody knocked down the billboard of Cylinden.
Oh,
right by Dunkin' Donuts. They left the one up of Norman Solomon, and they knocked down the one of the first prime minister of the country. So that wouldn't surprise me. But you know what you do? You don't leave it down. You put it back up.
Keep getting back up.
Right. And then you reinforce it, and you put cameras around.
Yeah.
Right?
And
so it's like,
and higher security.
you do what you got to do to get the message
I
out.
agree.
And every time it's taken down, you call all of the news media and say, hey, every time we ask this question on this billboard, we notice that the billboard is it was knocked down, the next time somebody burned it down. And we're questioning who is doing this, because who is this question offending in the public that they have this violent outrage?
Well, the article here is reminding you that just Monday, the Tribune reported that more than 4 months after 2 immigration officers allegedly assaulted 2 Haitian barbers.
It wasn't allegedly.
No, we saw it. We all saw
it's
the
not
video.
allegedly.
They did. They slapped them.
And then they took them to the detention center. So my question is, like, regular people, I can't go pull up to the detention center and say, I bring these people in. I think they ain't payment. I can't do that.
So that was 4 months ago, and at the time, Keith Bell said it would take a week to investigate. So what the heck is this all about? And there are many other investigations pending. So this is a hilarious text we got. The government just announced that there will be an investigation into the apparent delays regarding all the current investigations. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So like
that sounds about right.
2050, we'll have a response to that.
To the investigation into the delays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I promise you one thing. Every time somebody says, we are investigating, just say, oh, okay. So we ain't gonna ever know. Because that's what
that's what the media should say just in front of their face. So that means you're keeping this a secret, like all the others.
It's a state secret.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
Yeah, say that to them. There's no reason why the media cannot say that in front of them. So that means we'll never find out. Thank you, Minister, and turn your back and walk off, because they're wasting your time.
It's a mystery similar to the Bermuda Triangle. Like, where's Atlantis? That's what it is.
Some more text messages. Caller, we'll get to you in a second. This person says here, I just woke up and I'm sick and tired of all this Creole sounding on the Guardian radio. First thing in the morning, you are trying to Haitianize the Bahamas. This is very disgusting. As much as I love Guardian radio, I'm sick and tired of this earful of Creole. First thing in the morning. Okay.
One promo.
It's probably 2. But still.
No.
It's 2. But anyway, okay, well, I'm sorry.
2 promos.
You think that? But
2 promos out of how many, Dwight?
All these murders in Rodney Monker's area, we need to hear from the consultant. See, all of you like to text foolishness, though, right? Because, I mean, the fact that you even think about it, and because that was never something that should have ever happened, because we knew that wasn't going to do anything. But I don't know if you mean it as a joke, but let's not joke about this, right? Let's get serious. Did you really think something was going to come out of that? And that explains, if you did, that explains why we are where we are.
This say.
You all are too into buffoonery, and this is why. Anyway. Oh, boy. The Bahamas government has demonstrated countless times that it will not be pressured into transparency and anti-corruption, so it will be blacklisted until its people elect better leaders. Oh, God. Each administration and opposition does nothing to prevent issues like the Procurement Act or even disclosure violations, and yet want citizens to believe they're fooling the world like they do us. Only thing they do well collectively is hide money. Oh, my God. Keep them coming till we mad enough for change.
I have to disagree with that person because the whole point of what the Prime Minister was saying is that we are doing more than some of their own members, but they are blacklisting us while they don't do the same thing to their members. And part of the reason is because those members also
You
produce
form your own group now, right?
No,
So that's what
it's
they
not just
do,
about forming
that's
a group
fine.
because we have a group, CARICOM, and we don't utilize it fully, right? Because everybody's saying, "Oh, I want them people come
Well, you
here and
gotta
this and that."
form an economic group within
That is what CARICOM
Well,
is.
it means something very specific to deal
CARICOM
with those
is supposed to
things.
be the Caribbean equivalent to the EU, right? We are supposed to operate as a bloc. However, the people within the countries of CARICOM have allowed, once again, the mythology that those people are going to come and take your land and take your property and take your job and this and that, as opposed to saying, "Oh,
But you're harping on the wrong
No, I'm
part
saying-
of what they're saying. They're saying that
there are issues that need to be addressed." That is true, but that does not take away from the fact that what the Prime Minister and the AG are saying is also true. We are way more compliant than members of their own group.
okay. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Hi.
You know, being still in the month of July, right? Independence Month, right? And you know, we like to talk about our rights, how much rights we have, and equality, and then what you call it, one man, one vote, right? I'm dying to see the time when we gonna address the vast disparity and the powers of the people in the poor community or the community of Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Nassau in general, where you have people in the far-flung islands. They have more legislative power than those in those three islands I mentioned. You know, the vast disparity in the size of the constituencies. You know, until we address things like that, our leaders will always the electoral system in itself is corrupt, and it has been for a long time. We have a prime minister that comes to power with 1,200 voters in his constituency. You know, and now so you can have constituencies with almost 4,000 voters. What kind of equality is that? What kind of justice is that? When are we going to address that? That's like that. That's like the white man voting with land. They're voting with a distance from Nassau. That's you know what I'm saying. That in itself is corrupt. You're saying that's why the poor people they don't have no power. The politicians they don't have no respect for the poor people because there's no voice. The poor people don't have no voice, and people that the educated ones among us they have no care for the poor people. You know, it's blatant. We don't have this type of discussion like they have in the U.S. You know, we have the the woke conversations. You know what I'm saying? And those that really that can do a lot for poor people, they don't have it.
Are you saying woke or vote?
Hello?
Yeah, you said vote or woke?
Pardon?
Woke.
WOKE. You know, and you know, the other day we had an election. Our government wants us come. You know what I mean? Elect them because of 10 people selling coconut on the road. How much coconut? I mean, in healthy and sanitary conditions. How many coconut waters people we have in this country? And they want to say they care for the poor people because of 15 people in Nassau selling coconut water? Come on, man. Anyway, that ain't no care for poor people, especially the poor Bahamian people. You understand me? Who are displaced, unemployed. You understand me? And it's time the poor people have their justice in this country. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. All right, text messages. Oh, boy. Dwight, do you think Bahamian people are concerned about some Haitian barbers getting a little tap-up? Do a poll. No. Okay.
Why are they doing poor?
Well, first of all,
No, but
I do think people are. Because
Some
today
people are.
Haitian, tomorrow for no reason, your son who's
It's
a
not-
barber
it's
or,
not-
or
no.
daughter who's a hairdresser.
Dwight,
I mean,
it's not tomorrow. It's also
right
today.
now, yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Do you not
So
read the-
you don't care, Texter. Good to know. Okay, because why? Because they're barbers or
I want
because
you to
they're
know.
Haitians? What's your problem?
Yeah, but I want you to know those immigration officers, they don't know what Haitian, Bahamian, Chinese, Indian, they don't know what nobody look like.
Okay.
Right? And anybody with power who is not used to power and not been trained and responsible with power will abuse that power. So
You
want you to
said it
know,
earlier. We
look
read
at
it
all-
earlier.
We talking about people getting suffocated, and ain't nobody saying
Exactly.
Haitian in that.
These cases are getting thrown out because the police keep allegedly, attacking folks
But all that
in
aside-
custody, right? We don't care. Well, that explains a lot. So you just like it. Everybody gets off. They go back on the streets, get murdered. Murder rate goes to 200 and something. Everybody's happy with this
200
chaos in the country. That's what you all like.
Let's make it
Great.
an even thousand, Dwight.
Okay.
Let's make it an even
All
thousand.
right. Well, thanks. You know what? You should. Anyway, they go on to say there's a lot more from this one.
No, because that is some ignorant foolishness.
No, it gets worse. It gets worse. For us to change anything concerning human rights, women and girls need to be beaten in the streets because clearly law enforcement doesn't care about men. Why the heck aren't the advocate groups like the Crisis Center concerned about men getting beaten? Why do they only come out when women are involved?
That's how you know this person isn't listening. Human Rights Bahamas, literally, all of those people they talked about were
But
men.
They have a serious issue with the Crisis
No,
Center.
because
specifically.
they hate women.
Yes, they clearly
These
do.
people do understand.
Didn't they used to be called the Women's Crisis Center years ago?
It don't matter, Dwight. You know why? You know why it don't matter?
I said this to somebody last week. You got a problem with that?
No.
Form your own group.
I'm not even going to tell them that because they would form a ridiculous group that would collapse in a week because they can't get along with anybody. Their issue is, you know what their issue is? The issue is that they don't like anybody.
Mm-hmm.
They hate everybody, including themselves. All right? What are you talking about? Are you going to be mad at the Humane Society because they don't ever talk about humans?
Yes.
Because
They are going to be mad. We've had that. Someone
Right.
said that before.
Of course, they say
All
it
you
before.
don't care about is the dogs and the sharks.
That's their ministry.
You don't care about the humans.
Right, and then it's like, oh, are you mad at a church that's like, oh, we want to feed old people? Well, what about young people? Well, we're feeding young people. Well, what about the orphans and widows? Good God, all right? One person, one group cannot do everything. And if somebody says, I'm going to go and tackle this issue over here, your job is not to turn around and say, well, what about me? Your job is to say, that is a good thing, and then go back out there and say, hey, can somebody help me form something to do for men, to do for children, to do for whoever that they are doing for this group over here?
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
I don't
It's a
understand.
very simple solution.
Extremely
but
simple.
You wish to be negative and hate every single thing.
I wish that they get shut down
They
or
hate
something.
women, and the thing is, they don't like man, and they don't like women. So I don't know what they like.
They also don't like Haitians.
They-
I'm
oh, they're-
sick and
they don't like-
tired
they
of
don't-
the Haitian promos too.
They don't like Haitian. They don't like Bahamian. They don't like man. They don't like woman. They don't like dog. They don't like cat. They hate everything. So what I suggest that a person do is buy a plane ticket and just go to a desert somewhere and die, right? Because it don't make no sense. You are not a part of the community of the Bahamas if your only response to everything is, I don't like this. You have to like something. Let's build from there. But if only thing that you have to contribute every single time a conversation come up is, I don't like that, I hate that, stop talking. Go leave. I suggest walk. At the nearest beach to you, you are never more than 7 miles away from a beach in New Providence. Just start walking, go into the water, and just keep going.
Okay.
Don't stop.
Okay. Well.
Help us out. And they'll help reduce the price of land because there'll be one less idiot living in New Providence. Just keep walking.
Yikes. All right. This person says, Stephen, you sound like you need some milk. I don't know what that means. But anyway, they go on to say the Prime Minister and AG are over-compliant on what they think will take pressure off the government, not what it takes to run a nation with transparency. And that's needed to build trust that will allow more than just shady businesses that will
I don't understand why this person don't believe two things could be true. All right? It is I agree that there are things that need to be fixed. But at the same time, they are being compliant for these organizations. All right, because we have decided as a collective that we want investors. Whenever people talk about developing the family islands, how many times? It's either the blanket statement of we need to move back to the family islands with no true plan in place, or it's we need investors in the family islands. All right? And if we're looking for investor, then we have to become as attractive to that investor as possible. Put on your A-line mini skirt and put all type of rouge on your face.
What now?
You got to dress up like Bugs Bunny, right? And do whatever it takes. That's the position that we find ourselves in.
Bugs Bunny?
Yes, when he dresses as a woman.
Oh, okay.
All right?
There's a girl bunny too. You could dress like her.
Didn't exist until the 90s.
Oh, I see.
All right? So we're talking about the good old days, right?
Okay. See, you're into foolishness.
All right? That's what the generation that made us independent grew up on. All right? So I'm just taking us back to where they took us from.
Yeah, we're gonna get this.
The whole point is both things can be true.
Let me read the rest of the messages as we go to the break. This person says here, I 100% agree with what you gentlemen are saying this morning. As I look around our country and watch and listen to people, we are some of the most unhappy and miserable people I've ever seen. When did we get to this point? Yeah, and it's getting worse every year. It's very sad. But it's just complaining and grumbling and very little being done to fix the stuff.
It is the native tongue of the behemoth. Complaining.
National pastime.
No, it's not a pastime. It is the national language. It ain't English. It is complaining. When two random behemoths meet each other,
the language and the pastime.
If you meet another behemoth inside the bank and you don't know them, what's the first thing you say? Boy, this government, eh? That's the first thing out of our mouth. Nobody is saying, oh my goodness, they're giving away cookies. No one ever says that. No one ever says, hey, you hear about the thing over here that's happening? Oh, you could go to school for free if you do this. No one says that. The first thing we say is, boy, these potholes. And the potholes are bad. Yeah. But I ask you, be a little bilingual. Temper your complaints with at least one good thing about the country.
You're asking too much, sir. Yeah, you're asking far too much. You want
anyway,
people to lose their minds.
Across me start saying, God save the king. And that's return us back to our colonial heritage. So at least if we complain, we can complain about somebody besides ourselves. We can complain about a foreign power running us into the ground, as opposed to right now, we complaining and saying, we dumb, we this, we that, we ain't got nothing. Psychically, we are idiots.
My goodness. Wow, okay, let's take a break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. More heat, more humidity across much of the South. The National Weather Service says the record-breaking heat wave will continue over the Southwest well into next week, with triple-digit high temperatures also extending northward. And it'll feel like it's hotter than 105 degrees in some places in the South. The House has passed a bill it hopes will ease air travel delays. The AP's Lisa Dwyer.
The House has overwhelmingly passed a bill that would give the Federal Aviation Administration more money to hire air traffic controllers. It also aims to address pilot shortages by raising the mandatory retirement age. The measure seeks to improve air travel and reauthorize FAA programs for the next 5 years. The bill received wide bipartisan support in the midst of the summer's wave of cancellations and delays. It passed by a vote of 351 to 69. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The Senate's working on its version of the bill. I'm Rita Foley.
Time for your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Get in gear with an RBC auto loan in your real-time traffic. Mile Butler Highway, we're seeing heavy traffic from Fire Drill straight up to Tonique Williams Darling Highway at this hour. That's northbound. Glaston Road also busy for you, but about midway between Fire Trail and JFK Drive, you'll see that traffic for you northbound this morning. Blue Hill Road also busy north of Soldier Road on the way to Independence Drive northbound. Elsewhere, not looking so bad out there, but we'll see how things change after the 8 o'clock news. We'll have another update for you then. Morning Blend Traffic brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up for an RBC auto loan. And it's time for another check of your weather for this morning. We've got Atlantic high pressure dominating the weather across the country, supporting high temperatures, gentle breezes, and a plume of Saharan dust throughout the islands. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, look for partly sunny, hot, and hazy conditions with isolated showers or thunderstorms, mainly in the extreme northwestern islands, becoming fair and warm with isolated showers or thunderstorms in the extreme northwest islands tonight. For the central and southeast Bahamas, mostly sunny, hot, and hazy with a chance of a passing shower. Breezy in the southeastern islands, becoming fair, warm, and hazy tonight. Temperatures getting up to around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius, but the heat index will make you feel like it's 108 Fahrenheit, 42 Celsius. And overnight lows tonight getting down to about 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. In your extended outlook, shower activity will be suppressed a bit throughout the country, especially over the weekend due to the Saharan dust plume that will remain across the area, and it'll be especially heavy and thick in the central and southeastern islands. The high pressure system will support diminishing winds, subsiding seas, and high temperatures as that slides southeastwards over the area. So for Saturday, tomorrow, partly mostly sunny, hot, and hazy with isolated showers or thunderstorms in the northwest Bahamas. Sunday, partly to mostly sunny, hot, and hazy with isolated showers or thunderstorm in the northwest Bahamas. We'll have a look at the tropics coming up in our next weather check after the 8 o'clock news. We'll be back with more Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Get in gear with an RBC auto loan with up to 100% financing, extended repayment, and low interest rates. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up. Conditions apply.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
We're gonna give you a check every week for a year.
Percy's pension plan. Island game, keep you winning. Percy's pension plan. Dream big, we will help you live it. Percy's pension plan. Island game, we got you. Percy's pension plan. From the friends you can trust. If winning is a must, come play the game you know, cause your best chance is with us. The most trustworthy name is Percy's Island Game. So put 20 on your account and ride this easy train at Percy's Island Game.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. We understand that your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnoses and true personalized treatment begins. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshosp.com.
The Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority invites all private companies and civic organizations to adopt a roundabout. This is your chance to stand out from the crowd, beautify and enhance our local areas for residents and tourists alike, just in time for the 50th anniversary of our independence. With this opportunity, you can engage persons on the go, generate media interest, and promote your company. Stand out and celebrate 50. For more information, you can call 242-604-3750.
Indulge in an experience that awakens your senses.
And you wonder why?
coffee beans, carefully selected, roasted to perfection, and finely ground, resulting in a unique and unmatched flavor and aroma that captivates the senses. Enticing aroma, smooth taste. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. And now at 8:19, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got Atlantic high pressure dominating the weather across the country, supporting high temperatures, a gentle to fresh breeze, and transporting that plume of Saharan dust throughout the islands. A number of warnings as a result of all of this. Beachgoers in the southeast Bahamas should be alert for rip currents along easterly beaches. Residents being advised to remain hydrated and avoid prolonged sun exposure during late morning and afternoon hours. And everybody with allergies or respiratory illnesses being advised to be very cautious as a result of the Saharan dust. So, for today, for the Northwest Bahamas, look for partly sunny, hot, and hazy conditions with isolated showers or thunderstorms, mainly in the extreme northwestern islands, becoming fair and warm with isolated showers or thunderstorms again in the extreme northwest islands by tonight. For the central and southeast Bahamas, mostly sunny, hot, and hazy, with a chance of passing showers, becoming breezy in the southeastern islands, mainly fair, warm, and hazy tonight. Daytime high temperatures getting up to around 93 Fahrenheit, 34 Celsius, but the heat index will make you feel like it's 108 Fahrenheit, 42 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. In your extended outlook, shower activity will be suppressed throughout the islands as a result of the Saharan dust. And that's going to remain across the country and be extra thick and heavy in the central and southeastern islands, while the high-pressure system will support some diminishing winds, subsiding seas, and higher temperatures even, as that slides southeastwards over the area. So, for Saturday, tomorrow, partly mostly sunny, hot and hazy with isolated showers or thunderstorms in the northwest Bahamas. Sunday, partly mostly sunny, hot, and hazy with isolated showers or thunderstorms again in the northwest Bahamas. In the tropics, Tropical Storm Dawn still out there spinning around in circles about 1,040 miles west of the Azores now. We also have an area of low pressure several hundred miles west-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands that has about a 30% chance of formation during the next 7 days, despite the dry air north of the area. We'll continue to watch that one for you. But that is your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First. Visit firstonlineinsurance.com and select a Bahamas First agent to purchase, pay, or renew your car or home insurance 100% online, or just stop by any Bahamas First agent. Bahamas First, celebrating 40 years as the first Bahamian general insurance company. What's first for you comes first for us. And time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. Get in gear with an RBC auto loan in your real-time traffic. Mile Butler Highway still heavy northbound on, northbound heading toward Tawny Booms Darling Highway, just north of Fire Trail. And traffic is building on Fire Trail as well, eastbound to the roundabout. Over on Glaston Road, a better alternate route for you, but still heavy, about midway between Fire Trail and JFK Drive this morning, if you're heading northbound. Blue Hill Road also seeing some issues, busy near Carmichael and especially north of Soldier, heading toward the roundabout with Independence Drive. Got some congestion at East Street and Soldier Road as well, and Robinson Road busy between Soldier and Old Trail, westbound for you. Elsewhere, not bad, manageable this morning, so that's good. Again, only a few more weeks of this before we are back to the heavy morning traffic when schools reopen. But that is your morning blend traffic, brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gear up for an RBC auto loan.
Nassau's gone funky. Nassau's gone soul. We've got a doggone beat now. We're gonna call our very own. Nassau rock and Nassau roll. Nassau's got a whole lot of soul. Feel right. Mini skirts, maxi skirts, and afro hairdo. People doing their own thing, don't care about me or you. Nassau's gone funky. Nassau's got soul now. Oh yeah. And we got a doggone beat now. We're gonna take care of business too.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna. And this morning we're going to talk about the entertainment industry in the Bahamas, the state of things, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, some of it is. We definitely know we are challenged when it comes to live entertainment, especially. Our guests, though, are trying to change that. They're working hard to change that at the Spotlight Lounge. And here to tell us about what they're doing, we're very pleased to have with us Naomi Taylor and Kanika Prosa and Freddie Williams Jr. to join us as well. Good morning to all of you. Great to have you with us.
Morning.
All right, so we're going to start with you, Naomi. We know we don't have you for too long this morning, so let's talk about it. We got a message before the break about about how Bahamians complain a lot, Stephen, and then somebody says here, complaining. The Guardian Radio talk shows do the most complaining, and we've been talking about this off here. That with most of the complaining that you hear, you also hear solutions. But often, every time a solution is presented, people complain, say, "Oh, that's not going to work. This can't work. They won't allow this to happen." But there are solutions if you're listening, unless you only want to hear the complaints. And we were talking about this off air. You found a solution to a challenge that we are seeing with the music industry. Let's talk about that. What happened and what led to the Spotlight Lounge?
Okay, good morning. Good morning, Nassau, Bahamas, and the whole Bahamas. You know, we in the entertainment industry, we always talk about what it used to be like back in the day. That is a normal conversation that comes up every time we talk about where we are today. And we are wanting. We have fallen off. We have lost our vision. And we're nowhere where we used to be. We used to be, the Bahamas was really a mecca for entertainment and live entertainment. Wow. And right now we are starving for it. And so instead of complaining, and we've for years been complaining and asking the government to help us and just trying to get together and get it going, and that has not happened. Mm-hmm. And so we realize that if it is going to happen, it has to happen with us. We have to be aggressive, we have to be deliberate, and that is exactly what we did. We opened a little lounge. We call it the Spotlight Lounge. And the reason we call it Spotlight Lounge is because we put the spotlight on our young entertainers, persons that are coming up in the industry, that are interested in making a career out of the entertainment industry. And we want to be there to guide them, to show them, and to encourage them. And so we opened the lounge last year. We feature entertainment every night that we're open, and we support young artists. And so a few months after we opened, we saw the need to start a competition. And the competition was to really draw in the talent that we have on the island. And so young people came from all over, north, south, east, and west. And they tried out. We had 32 persons that tried out for this talent quest. And out of the 30...
Was it just singing or
It was different acts.
Okay,
yeah. It was bands, it was comedians.
Okay.
So it was quite interesting, and it really brought to light. I mean, we met so much talent that we didn't even know existed.
Wow.
And out of the 32 that tried out, we selected 13. And then we kind of, drew down to the winner. And so in the studio with us today is one of the persons that was a part of that talent quest, Kanika. And we were hoping to have the winner, but he is not available to be here with us today due to other scheduling conflicts. But Kanika was our first runner-up.
Okay. Yeah, Kanika, tell us about that. What made you enter and what you did? What did you perform? What did you do?
Okay, good morning, everyone. I actually heard about the Talent Quest from my neighbor. So she had sent me the flyer and everything. And I had just gotten out of the hospital, so I was recovering. And I'm like, okay, I wanted that to be my first foray back into entertaining, into singing and whatever. So I got out there and had an amazing time. And meeting Naomi, her husband Clinton, and Mr. Munnings along the way. I actually became a part of the competition, and through all of that, learned to be a better performer. Wow. I actually, grew as a singer, so I primarily sing. And so, like I said, just the encouragement that came from everyone, as well as working with such amazing talent and established talent, as well as meeting the new and upcoming talent. It was an overall amazing experience.
Yeah. Wow. So what did you do with all this talent that you found? I mean, are they now regulars?
A lot of them are. A lot of them we stay in contact with. And they are, a lot of people think that you cannot make a career out of being an entertainer. And we're here to kind of show them that you can. Konika is a great example. She used to be an accountant in the field of accounting.
Yes.
So are you doing this full-time now?
Yes, I'm actually performing full-time. So I sing with a few bands, as well as I do solo work. So yes, because of this, I was actually really encouraged to get out there, and like I said, just more confident in what I was doing and knowing that it could actually be a career. I could actually pay my bills. I could actually, make a living from this.
And so we mentor some of those persons that were a part of that talent quest. They come out, we have an open mic where we just feature talent on Wednesdays. And they come out if they're working on new stuff, so we work along with them. On Mondays, we dedicate our Monday evenings to helping them to prepare for Wednesday. So they come out on Mondays and we work with them, get their songs together, whatever they're performing. And then on Wednesday, they come and they strut their stuff.
Wow, this is amazing. Okay, so tell us exactly where you're located and the nights that you are, what you feature each night. How that works.
Certainly. So we are located in the Coral Harbor area at the roundabout, at the Coral Harbor roundabout. If you exit onto Adelaide Road. Now, Adelaide, this is not Adelaide Village. Adelaide Road is an extension of Carmichael Road.
Right.
So Carmichael Road turns into Adelaide Road after the roundabout. And right as you exit onto that road, we are the 6th building on the left.
Okay.
It's a little commercial triplex. You got to look out for it.
Yeah.
The whole concept is very small and intimate, and we want it that way. If you can work a small, intimate room, you could work a big crowd. And so you have to look out for it. But it's a small commercial triplex that we're in. We're right in the corner.
And which nights are you?
We're opened Wednesday through Sunday. We open at 7 p.m. We go to midnight. And we feature live entertainment each night. We have young talent and we have experienced talent. We have persons like Pat Carey. We have the VIPs, Essence Band, some very prominent bands. And then we have young persons that are coming up. We have a beautiful lady that we found just by the Wednesday open mics. We found this beautiful, beautiful talent, goes by the name of Brown Eyes. And Brown Eyes, she sings there mostly on Thursday nights, but you can come and find her, and she gives a wonderful performance, And then we have Danielle Lee, who just recently finished her studies in music performance. And she comes out, she performs, and she meets the other artists, and it's just, just like a family affair. And she is one of the persons that will be spearheading the new talent quest that's coming up. She's going to be the face and the voice behind it. So we're allowing her to grow in that way. She's going to take it and form it and make it what she thinks it should be. And so this is going to actually just deepen her experience, and her exposure.
Yeah. What's the response like? Where do people, are you packing the space, or are people coming?
Yeah, it comes and goes. Our weekends are busier. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We go by appointment because the space is so intimate and small. We go by appointment, reservations. And so the weekends are a little busier. Wednesday nights are exciting because you never know what's going to show up. You never know who is going to show up. We had a beautiful lady that came out a few weeks ago. She's a teacher, I think, at the Lyford Key School. And she plays the drums. She plays several instruments. And, she just came and she just did her stuff, and it was so inspiring. Everybody was just talking about it for weeks. So you never know what's going to happen on Wednesday. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and you've got new people coming in.
Meeting new people and introducing them to other people as well. So it's a little network.
Yeah. So, Kanika, I guess you can get in on this as well. So what does this mean? What have you learned about live entertainment and the potential in the future here for this to be expanded? What does it say about where we could be or should be?
Okay, well, growing up, because I always wanted to be an entertainer, my father told me that, no, we can't make money from that. So you cannot pursue that. Being a part of this now, like I said, changed the entire dynamic, changed where I think I could be, and has now allowed me to encourage others to become a part of this industry and to know that there are places there. There are opportunities for artists, there are opportunities for performers, and those that play instruments and whatever. So where we are actually becoming more vibrant in terms of where we want to go with the music and open to new artists. So I do believe that there is a wonderful future here. We have amazing talent here in the islands. And with Naomi and Clinton and Mr. Munnings, I think we can go very far.
Yeah, there are others in the industry that are doing this, but it's not enough. You know, we need to, I think, the more seasoned entertainers, while, you know, you have an obligation to do your gigs and to go and make music for people, one of the things that should be very prominent in what they do is to find somebody to mentor, find young people that are interested, and, you know, take them under your wing, you know. So we just need a little more of that. And just to piggyback off of something Kanika said, the opportunities may not be here as they were before, but we have to create them.
Yeah.
We have to create them.
I was going to ask, to those who might be thinking, there's a few people who are into live music, but the majority of the Bahamian people want a DJ who's going to be spinning the wheels. That's what they want.
Do they want that? Or
I don't
is that
know.
what's been
If
offered
someone
to them?
says that,
'Cause then-
what would you say to people who are thinking that DJ music is where it's at?
You know, Dwight, I just listened for the first part of the conversation, and I want to commend Naomi Taylor and Clinton Crawford for their efforts. The ugly side of it is we went to the government to ask for assistance, to exercise what they say is the practice, to give us the concessions that we needed to start the business. It takes money. They invested their own money. They invited me to participate, and I'm a partner. But for the most part, they invested their money. We got no concessions from the government, none. Even those that we were supposed to have gotten, we did not get. So we had to pay the duty on the equipment. We had to pay the VAT on the equipment and everything else. It is a struggle. Every week we have to struggle to meet our demands. But we're committed to it. Yes, it's a very small, intimate place. And even if we are filled every night, we will not make money. We may break even if we are lucky. If we are lucky. My point is this. We're doing this to prove a point. To say to the government in particular, and to private sector people, but most especially to our young, beautiful, talented Bahamians. They are hungry, as is the example of what is in the studio with us this morning, this young lady. She left her accounting job because she loves entertainment, and she's excellent at it. Daniel Lee has just finished her graduation. She's coming home. She can't find no employment. So what Naomi did, created a space for her to demonstrate her skills. What I'm saying, man, we got to get serious in this country. They're asking Bahamians to invest in the Bahamas. But when we try to invest, we don't get the same concessions as do the foreign investors. I say it here this morning again. Why can't we get the concessions? They say we have it, but we would not afford it. And we spoke to the minister responsible. I'll call his name if you want me to. You know who I'm talking about. In financial services. And his people. Got no support. Invited him to come and see what we're doing, never showed up. Are we serious? We are in the hospitality industry. Entertainment is the tourism industry because it gives experiences, authentic experiences to our guests. Go into the major resorts. What do you find? You don't find you don't find this young lady. You may find Naomi because she's so good. Just in a very little area. But when they bring in their mega entertainment, do you see her with them? No. She could stand on any stage with any artist from anywhere in the world with her husband, Adrian D. Aguilar. And the list goes on. Mm-hmm. Gifton. Every time he comes to Nassau, he comes to our place. Why can't we have this kind of experience throughout this country? Right. It used to be 50 years ago, 70 years ago. That's what she's talking about. They were incubators. I don't want to monopolize the microphone.
Right.
But this is serious business, man.
Right.
And I commend this young lady and her husband for doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I know Naomi has to leave, but so one more time, we'll get back to Freddie in a bit. Remind people where the Spotlight Lounge is and when they need to come out there
Okay,
and
so
see
the
the magic.
Spotlight Lounge is in the Coral Harbor area. We're located just off the roundabout, 6th building on the left on Adelaide Road. We're open Wednesdays through Sundays, 7 to midnight, live entertainment every night. We are on Facebook and Instagram, Spotlight Lounge 242, Spotlight Lounge 242.
Okay.
Just, come out and see what it's like. I can tell you, if they come out, the food, the service, and the entertainment is going to be top-notch, second to none on this island.
No, full disclosure, Freddie's been trying to get me to come for about a year now. I'm coming. It's very far from me, but I'm coming.
It's worth the drive.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, it's worth the drive.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Naomi Taylor, thank you so much. I don't know, Kaniki, you need to leave us as well, or you can, yeah? Okay. But Freddie's going to stick around. We can continue the conversation. Ladies, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to experiencing this. Thank you. Keep up the great work that you're doing. This is wonderful, and hopefully people will get the message. Yes. Hopefully people will get the message. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Nassau's gone so.
We go everywhere. Shop early at Janae's Chesapeake Road annual back-to-school sale going on now. Get up to 20% off on all school items in stock. Yes, all school items in stock. Shirts, jumpers, skirts, boys' long and short pants, school neckties, PE shorts, in a variety of colors and school monograms. Shop early and don't miss out at Janae's Uniform Center Chesapeake Road's annual back-to-school sale going on now. Remember, we go everywhere. Beat the rush and save, save, save at Janae's annual sale now.
Summer your way with Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan this summer and open the doors to your dream destination, the perfect home renovation, or prep for back to school, and so much more. Enjoy competitive rates, flexible loan terms, and no payments for up to 2 months. Use your plan loan to unlock your perfect summer break. Apply for your Scotia Plan loan today and have summer your way with Scotiabank. Visit bs.scotiabank.com or call 242-356-1697 for further details.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey for every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you want to go scuba diving on your vacation, don't bedazzle your wetsuit. And you think you look great, but what you don't realize is that you look like a shiny, scaly fish. And it won't take long for a shark to notice you. Next thing you know, you're busting out every karate move you got. But if you're smart, you'll have CG medical insurance and get airlifted out to the closest hospital.
Get coverage for emergency evacuations. CG Atlantic Medical and Life Insurance. Good like that.
All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Total Auto Care on Howard Road offers fast, quality auto maintenance at the very best prices. Tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, suspension, wheel alignments, radiators, water pump replacements, and more. Need quality brand name tires for your vehicle? Tires that'll stand up to these roads? No worries. We supply Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Pirelli, and Toyo. We'll import them fast and install them for you at no extra cost. So when your car needs maintenance or quality tires, we're on Howard Road, just before Burger King. Come see us. Total Auto Care. Call us at 341-6599 or 341-2350.
Are you dreaming of the perfect summer getaway? Apply for a debt consolidation or personal loan to win an airline ticket to Paris, Miami, or New York. Win up to $2,500 in cash and more. For details, call 356-7764 for Nassau, 602-6811 for Freeport, 823-4374 for Abaco.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Get in gear with an RBC auto loan with up to 100% financing, extended repayment, and low interest rates. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/GearUp. Conditions apply.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in gear with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Indulge in an experience that awakens your senses with Nescafe Gold. Premium Arabica coffee beans, carefully selected, roasted to perfection, and finely ground, resulting in a unique and unmatched flavor and aroma that captivates the senses. Enticing aroma, smooth taste. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold.
A lot of folks are wondering, what is the Agrarian Awards? It's an award show to celebrate the people who produce the food that feeds the country. So September 16th, we're giving out trophies and money to young farmers, backyard farmers, sheep runners, goat herders, pea pickers, onion planters. Basically, everyone. But we couldn't fit all that on the invite, so we put Agrarian Awards instead. Go to ADOBahamas.org to find out how to nominate your favorite agrarian. The Agrarian Awards, September 16th.
There's a new electric vehicle in town. The Jack brand of SUVs, trucks, sedans, and commercial vans. Available only at Easy Car Sales, home of the fully electric vehicle. For a powerful, smooth ride at a fraction of the cost to drive, leave the pump behind and hit the road with Jack. Visit easy242.com to see our brand new Jack models and drop into Easy Car Sales for a test drive. It'll have you singing. Hit the road with Jack, and don't you pump gas no more.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
It's been 35 years since Custom Computers was founded, and we'd like to celebrate that milestone by thanking you, our clients and customers. You've inspired 35 years of expert service and support, partnering with the world's leading brands like HP, Apple, and Microsoft. We take pride in setting the bar for what you expect and deserve from a homegrown Bahamian business. We're here to serve you when you need us, so call 396-1101. Custom Computers, raising the standard since 1987.
Total Auto Care on Howard Road offers fast, quality auto maintenance at the very best prices. Tune-ups, oil changes, brakes, suspension, wheel alignments, radiators, water pump replacements, and more. Need quality brand name tires for your vehicle? Tires that'll stand up to these roads? No worries. We supply Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Pirelli, and Toyo. We'll import them fast and install them for you at no extra cost. So when your car needs maintenance or quality tires, we're on Howard Road, just before Burger King. Come see us. Total Auto Care. Call us at 341-6599 or 341-2350.
Don't let go of your chance to win big with Alive on 700 Wines and Spirits. We've got an exclusive promotion just for you. Purchase 3 or more refreshing Click Rattlers and pair them with our Freedom 12 plan or higher at 700 Wines and Spirits. To enter the contest, simply write your name and phone number on the front of your receipt. Then snap a photo of your receipt and WhatsApp it to 242-805-7511. This promotion ends July 31st, 2023. Terms and conditions apply. Alive. Believe in best.
summer your way with Scotiabank. Apply for a Scotia Plan loan this summer and open the doors to your dream destination, the perfect home renovation, or prep for back to school, and so much more. Enjoy competitive rates, flexible loan terms, and no payments for up to 2 months. Use your plan loan to unlock your perfect summer break. Apply for your Scotia Plan loan today and have summer your way with Scotiabank. Visit bs.scotiabank.com or call 242-356-1697 for further details.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. And I say, boy, my island's in the sun, 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 sun. Bring it up now. And I say, boy, my island's in the sun. Carnival time is here. Cause when I turn to party, this joke and make at me wet. So, boy, my island's in the sun. Carnival time is here. We could be taken straight in, winding up and misbehaving.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Stephen Hanna. We have got Freddie Munnings with us still, Freddie Munnings Jr., and we're talking about a lot of interesting things off air. Some of it we will get on air, some of it. But listen, we've got a call. Let's take this call really quickly, and then we'll continue talking about what we were talking about earlier. Good morning, caller on there.
Good morning.
Hi.
Yes, I just wish to congratulate those places from the Spotlight Lounge and to also encourage them. They have a daunting task in that they're not going to get the kind of support, at least I believe, they're not going to get the kind of support they need from the government, but they need to persist because what they're doing is so right, and one of the reasons why I'm saying that, sir, is because when I read a recent article from in the papers from the Director of Labor as relate to the help that was being sought, that the Director of Labor stated, listen here, we're giving persons permission to come in to do jobs that Bahamians can do because, guess what, the entertainment people, they don't have it together. And to me, that is wrong. That is wrong. There are no circumstances that I can think of where foreigners should be given an opportunity to work in the Bahamas, and you intentionally give it to them because you have a beef with some organization. Every entertainer is not a part of an organization. What I see, Rock Morris, what I see there is corruption. That's my interpretation of corruption. Robert Farquharson and all of those persons associated with the Ministry of Labor must stop, desist in mistreating Bahamians. Congratulations, folks. You're doing a good thing.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We'll take one more call, and then we'll get back to our discussion. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. What are you doing?
Doing well.
Hey, Fred, how you doing, my big brother?
Oh, I'm doing very well, JJ. How about yourself?
You know, you was one of my favorite Bahamians. Well, you see, let me tell you what our problem is in this country. Nothing else can change in this country until we get rid of the Moses school. They hate us. They don't like Bahamians. You know, we used to represent this country for years. French Quarter, Bourbon Street, me, Ronald Sims, Cale Edwards, and all the good people, real people, you know. And when I was a younger fellow, you had clubs for all past years. You had Family Island Lounge, you had Dwight, you had many, many places where you guys would play live music.
Yes, sir.
We used to enjoy ourselves. I was so ashamed I used to go in a hotel. I couldn't gamble, but I could sit down and buy expensive rum and stuff. So I stopped going. See, God said, that Moses school don't take. Don't care what they do. And I said Moses school. I mean, people 75 and older. I don't listen to the words they say. They don't want to have nothing. These people hate to blame me people. Like you said, the foreigners come to this country with nothing and go and borrow money and build a hotel and do things. But God is good, you know. We can make it for our children and our grandchildren, and we can get no pension. We can, look here, any wrong they do, treason is there by hanging in this country, Freddie. And, I mean to hang some of these people in public, you know. So the rest will go and never start doing right for Bahamas. I love the Bahamas. I love our people. I don't brag about what I do, Freddie. You know what I do. And I don't go get no four-ups. If war was happening in this country, I tell me, my sons, and my brothers, let's go fight. Let's protect our country. And that's all I can say for the time being. Wow. And stay strong, my brother.
That was a lot. Okay. Okay, JJ, thank you very much.
Thank you, JJ.
Wow. All right. So, Now, we talked about it, you said it on air, it's very expensive. You took a chance to go out and do this on your own with no support, right, from the government?
None.
Is it going to take a few more people doing this before the government gets it?
Well, Dwight, first of all, I believe strongly in the Bahamianization policy that of yesteryear. Back in the day, as I said, Bahamians invested in the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we need outside direct investors. Yes, we do. But when those investors come, they got to play by our rules. They should not create the rules. What do I mean by that? For example, in the entertainment industry, I have proposed for many years, my father before me, since we have destroyed the local nightclub industry outside of the hotel properties, at the very least, insist that on every major property, there is a spot allocated for Bahamians to invest to create a Bahamian experience on the properties. They are telling the people not to leave your properties because we can't guarantee your safety. It's dangerous to go outside of the property because of the crime, etc. Okay? So they created these all-inclusives. And they created now this port that's downtown. Keep the people confined on the port so we could protect them and don't let them go out into the island. When back in the day, people was all over this island, all hours of the night and morning, experiencing the Bahamas. You come from New York, you come from Miami, you come from Chicago, you come from Detroit. The Bahamas is a joke when you talk about crime. So why are you telling the... See, my father had advocated, and I support him in this, there should be a police, uniformed police at every major entertainment establishment in the nighttime in this country. They do it in New Orleans and other places. They even have the police cars outside so that people will feel safe when they go into these areas. See, this is where you protect your country and your economy. If you're talking about, if you could put hundreds of police downtown when the ships are in to march up and down downtown at Spotlight Lounge on Coral Harbor, why can't you have a uniformed police over there? So the visitor will feel safe to come. And the Bahamian will feel safe to come. What I'm saying is, get together with private sector people. Let's create an incentive for Bahamians to invest in the number one pillar of economy in the country, which is tourism. There's no incentives to do it. When I lived in the United States, for example, there was a program to encourage cultural development that for every dollar a private sector invested in that economy, in that particular industry, they were able to write off $2. So you say you can't collect your real property tax, right? Millions of dollars owed by Bahamians and others. Tell them, if you invest $1 into the tourism entertainment industry, you could write off $2. So what are you doing? You're collecting your real property tax, and you are stimulating an industry where this young lady could go and get a job. She could pay her national insurance. She could buy food. She could take care of family. And so the government is getting the tax return 100-fold. Let's get together, man, and stop just calling us into quote-unquote committees. And when you sit on these committees and you bring ideas that could make sense, they never even use them. I sat on the National Development Plan Committee. I sat on the Economic Recovery Committee. And ain't nothing that I say to you I didn't say to them. But how much of these ideas, not only me, man, there are many others. You got a brilliant young producer sitting in your studio by the name of Stephen Hanna. What a support is the film industry getting in this country? He can tell you stories, I'm sure, that would horrify you. My point is, Bahamas have to be for Bahamians first. Has to be.
Yeah. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Strachan, and good morning to your guest, Mr. Munnings.
Yes, sir.
It's always a pleasure listening to Mr. Munnings at my age. You know, Mr. Munnings, I remember my father, at a certain point in time, we grew up listening to Eddie Minison.
Yes.
all the older singers. And we used to enjoy. I remember we actually used to enjoy Eddie Minison and all the rest. But my father liked Eddie Minison. There was a lot of others. I can't remember their names. But, you know, when I listen to Dwight, the song that you played just now, Mary Islands in the Sun, that's the lady that sings the song 2 for 2, this one for everyone. That's her.
No, Lady E. Her name is Lady E.
This was Lady E.
No, but her voice sounds similar, but she is the real singer.
Yes.
See, she has a real voice, and she's to me, and it sounds so. But I never was a singer, so I don't know if that's why I adore it. But I just wanted to comment on something Mr. Munning said, that I know this is the trend because I'd read the Sahari Oaks book Blood and Fire, which I was wondering why it was never made a movie, right? I was wondering why. And so in that book, I remember reading that the same tactic that Mr. Munnings was talking about was around from the 50s, in which they had spread propaganda on the local females as having gonorrhea in order to avoid the RAF, the Royal Air Force pilots, from coming over and patronizing clubs and stuff like that. Right. And I think the council, and it gives a chronology of all the famous clubs at the time. I was old enough to remember the Cat and Fiddle, which should have been somewhere where Commonwealth Bank was.
That's right.
And then the Banana Boat. I was old enough to remember them. And then they used to have wrestling match at the Cat and Fiddle. So I just sit and listen to the little brief chronology here. But what he's saying is actually true. But I was hoping that we would discontinue this particular model of discouraging and talking about crime. And you see, crime is everywhere. When you can actually do things to impede crime and make the tourists feel safe, because Schools Brown is painting a very similar picture, which is just over the hill, which really should have been in a better what you call an entertainment paradigm than it is now. You understand what I'm saying, Mr. Munnings?
Yes, sir.
So you have to keep up the struggle, and maybe you should be known for this. Bless him, Mr. Munnings. Give thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I think that is definitely happening. This message, this is a text. I just spoke with a tourist who expressed interest in seeing more of our culture. He said he wants to mix with the locals and do what they do.
Tell him come to the Spotlight Lounge in Coral Harbour.
I'm sure a lot of people
go down to Nirvana Beach on La Beach.
How often are there
well,
shows
you
there?
know, we used to have shows, right? But again, when we spoke with the cruise directors, they want you to have a $5 million insurance liability and make them the beneficiary. That's a criteria for them to encourage people to come to your business. That is absolutely insane. But the bottom line is they would not want to send people to our establishments. They want to keep them confined under their control. Now our government is considering giving them a private beach so that they don't have to go to Nirvana Beach. They don't have to go down to Junkanoo Beach. They could go to their private beach, keep them in control, let them control all of the revenue generation so that the foreigners could take it out of the country.
Wow.
Tell me how that make any sense.
Boy, this is a message here. I agree that we, the people of the Bahamas, should seek to do all that we can do, all that we're able to do as much as possible, and not look to and depend solely on the government. But the reality is, government is essential and critical in getting much of what is needed to be done from a business and legal perspective. There's no getting around that if you are minded to walk the straight and narrow road.
We're not depending on the government to do anything other than what they do for the foreigners. Give us the same concessions. Give us the same concessions that you're giving the foreign direct investors. Give us the same amount of promotional dollars that you're paying to these international promoters. They're giving them money to promote their businesses.
Yeah.
Ask me any Bahamian business that get money from the government to promote their business internationally. Tell me one.
Well, this text, performing arts and creative entertainment industries will put the Bahamas on the map. The politicians will never prioritize developing the sector because they don't want our performers to outshine the politicians.
What they want is they want to be the entertainers. My father told me that years ago. The politicians want to be entertainers. What's the way they conduct themselves? They got chauffeur-driven cars and they walk over with their dark shades on. They want to be entertainers.
Well, the house does seem like a circus.
That's exactly what they want to do.
A circus.
They're
show.
not entertainers. They're servants of the people.
Let's take a couple more calls before we wrap up. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, how y'all doing this today?
Good morning. Hey, how's it going?
You read my text?
Yes, that was you just now, right? Okay, yes. Read your text just now.
So Ronnie Butler told me that. And you know, Ronnie Butler didn't care. He said, he's effing this and that. They don't care about us. They want... But then when you look at it, Ronnie Butler could have been a Bob Marley of the Bahamas. Could have put us on the map internationally. So I say, yeah, politicians, don't give us what we need to get to where we're going to go. We're going to do it anyway. We'll work around. What you say, Freddie?
We do it around the world. Everywhere I go in the world, I can do it. They can't stop me from doing it around the world. Funky Nassau was the biggest song in the history of this country.
Yes.
All right? All over the world. Still very popular. More popular now than it was then. Yes, Tada, we hear you.
Erica Badu in the movie Blues Brothers
absolutely
performed Funky Nassau. And you want to come tell me, but we ain't got no real creative industry potential here? That's a bunch of crap.
We got more talent than anywhere in the world. Pound for pound. The Bahamas will stand up against any artist in Sidney Poitier.
Anyway, when y'all ready to take to Bay Street or advocate or do anything like that, you know I'm in. I'm all in.
And before Sidney Poitier, L. Boyd Williams and James Weldon Johnson.
Yeah.
Just to name a few.
But don't get me started on Sidney Poitier now.
Okay.
Sidney Poitier was the gateway for black entertainers to come into mainstream roles where they weren't just playing maids, servants.
Absolutely. That's why they barred his movie from coming to the Savoy. They didn't want to show him as I think he was a doctor in that movie. They didn't want to show a black man as a doctor. Is that correct,
In the
Stephen?
Bahamas, this movie was.
In the Bahamas, yes.
Wow.
But isn't his relative, Ian Poitier, the entertainer, isn't he a consultant for the government?
So I understand.
Yes?
Yes.
So I understand, yes.
We need to have a talk with Ian.
We certainly do.
All of us, the theater community,
on many
the dance
occasions.
community.
That's correct.
Cool. I'm down. That's all I'm saying. So y'all keep up the good work. Great
All right.
show.
Thank you,
Thank you
Dada.
so much. Appreciate it. This text here says, "Oh, Freddie, they'll come to see you. The politicians right around election season. That's when they're going to come.
Oh, yes,
begging
absolutely.
for votes.
Absolutely. And asking us to perform for free.
Oh dear. All right, so you've been a part, I think, of these conversations we've had before. We said this could be what could transform downtown Nassau, right?
Yes,
if we
sir.
had maybe an entertainment zone.
Not only
we've seen
downtown Nassau, all over Nassau.
all over
And all
the
over the
province.
Bahamas.
Yeah, all over the Bahamas.
Not only downtown Nassau.
We see this all over. You talk about New Orleans all the time.
Absolutely.
They've got a number of these type
Absolutely.
zones, these areas.
Travel, go to New York.
Right?
Where do you find
New York,
the most
Nashville.
popular black theater was what? The Apollo Theater. Where was that? In Harlem.
Yeah, in Harlem, yeah. This is what you do, but right.
That's right.
What are we doing?
Where's the culture? The culture's with the people.
Yeah. 'Cause I mean, like,
What's happening at Awaki?
Even when you talk about tourism, because I would argue that tourism is nothing more than the commodification of culture.
Absolutely.
So it's like you don't go
Absolutely.
to Italy because it's geographically a different place. Everywhere's a different place. You go to Italy so you could see the Colosseum, so you could eat authentic pasta,
That
so
is
you
correct.
could walk the
To
streets.
experience the culture.
Right, to watch something in
And
an
the
amphitheater.
traditions.
Right.
That's
so
right.
like it's all about
That's right.
it's about the culture. So like if you aren't experiencing that, there's a point where okay, we've seen this giant frog in other warm climates. And the people there don't even speak Spanish. So why is this Spanish frog talking about come take shots? You understand what I'm saying? So it's like it becomes tiring very quickly.
Yeah.
If you're visiting.
Yeah.
Because you're like, this is not
And
anything.
that's everywhere.
And I would argue
every stop you make.
I would argue even if you wanted to have franchises that you import, when you go to places like South Asia, their McDonald's has South Asian. It's a different menu. Everywhere else in the world, you go to McDonald's, they have specific things where it's like their desserts are from that region, their ingredients are from that region. But over here, we don't even have one Bahamian. Well, they had the guava thing. I guess that was that was an attempt. But anyway, the whole point is you can't just do one thing and then just stop and say, oh no, we ain't trying no more. You have to ingrain it in everything.
We are not serious about developing our arts and performing arts in this country. Back in the day, again, I repeat, the Dundas Theatre for the Performing Arts, for example, is laying in disrepair. The Theatre for the Performing Arts, the National Performing Arts Theatre on Shirley Street, is a disgrace. Now we're talking about bringing in foreigners to head up our performing arts
School
program. This is what I'm hearing in the radio. I think there's $1 million allocated by the government to bring in some foreigners, I'm told. That is not going to happen. Let me give you a warning right now. We have too many Bahamians who are qualified to start up our performing arts program to bring in any foreigners in this country. And I send a message to whoever's thinking it. There's a problem here. All right, so I'm waiting. I am waiting to see. We've got a Nicolette Bethel, we've got a Philip Bethel, we've got Ian Strawn, we've got any number of people, Robert Bain, in the performing arts, who are highly qualified. People like Michael Swan and Danielle Lee, who just finished her degree. Any number of persons who are overly qualified cannot find work in the Bahamas, and you talk about bringing in foreigners and allocating $1 million? Let's look within.
Yeah, we've got the priorities all mixed up. Freddie, I know you're passionate about it. This is definitely not we're going to talk about this a whole lot more as we keep this fight up. But thank you so much for being here this morning.
Always
we
my
hope
pleasure.
people are listening. We hope people are paying attention. The potential, the possibilities.
Yes. Tremendous
limitless.
The orange economy, as Stephen has said, is the most brilliant economy in the world. Why? Because it experienced the people of the world. When you come to the Bahamas, you must experience the Bahamas to have a Bahamian experience. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you again. Thank you. And again to our guests earlier, Naomi Taylor and Kanika Prosa. And again, coming to see you at the
Please
Spotlight
do.
Lounge.
Stephen, make sure he comes,
I'll bring
okay?
to you.
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah.
I need the gas money, so
Yeah, no problem.
All
No
right.
problem.
Thank you again,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
Have a great weekend. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Morning Blend Business. It's our morning brand series. We're talking about rebranding, what you need to know, and how to do it right. That's after the break. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Friday, July 21st, 2023. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna. And once a month we have our Morning Brand series discussing branding and marketing and advertising issues. And joining us as always for this, we're very pleased to have Royanne Dean of Communications Design and Digital Solutions Agency Onward Advisors. Royanne, good morning. Great to have you with us as always.
Hey, good morning, Dwight. Good morning, everybody. Great to be here.
And this morning we're going to be talking about rebranding. We hear about that a lot. A lot of people have done that, are doing that. But we're going to talk about exactly what it is, why you need to do it, and how to do it right. Wait, let's get that back there. And what? What was that?
You mean if you need to do it?
If you need to do it. How to know if you do need to do it.
Yeah, how do you know?
Right.
Exactly.
All right, so let's get some definitions in there. What exactly is rebranding?
Okay, so rebranding is essentially when an organization, or it could be a person actually,
right,
when an organization or a person decides that they want to change their brand. And, in our previous conversations, we discussed about what a brand is. A brand is basically how people perceive you as an organization or a person, how they can expect to interact with you, what type of engagement, what type of experience, etc. So when it's determined that there's a change that's to be made, that is called a rebrand. And that rebrand should be holistic. So not just the look of the logo, but that trickles down to exactly what happens throughout the organization.
Mm-hmm.
So that's essentially what a rebrand is. But so I thought about this topic because a few weeks ago in the news, I saw an article about FTX potentially finding new investors and rebranding as a part of its relaunch. And I thought to myself, okay, wow, FTX is going to be back and it's going to be rebranded. And I thought that was an interesting topic because if you look at it in that context, you can understand why a company might want to rebrand.
Mm-hmm.
If they think there's value in the company still, and potential investors have approached FTX. They have I guess, I don't know if he's an interim CEO, but the CEO is John Ray III. But he's been speaking with investors, or the company's been speaking with investors, and they'll relaunch, and that will come with a rebrand.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we can understand in that scenario, you've had had some issues, and you need to, change the image.
Yeah,
sure.
That's one scenario, but there are a few reasons why rebranding might be desired. So one is repositioning, and that means that if you started off in one area as an organization, but you want to focus on another area which may be different or just expand, you might want to reposition the brand. So let's say you started off as if you're a car manufacturer and you started off as an entry-level producer, but you want to expand into luxury vehicles, that might require a repositioning so that customers or potential customers think of your brand in a different way. That's repositioning. And so that can also require a rebrand.
Right.
You might want to further differentiate your brand. So if you want to say, okay, no, we're really, really, really different, and this is how we look, and this is how we sound, that's another cause for a rebrand. In the case of FTX, that's reputation. Well, that's a little bit more than reputation management, but that is reputation management. You don't want to be associated with that current brand that has had a very negative association. So you want to kind of pivot away from that. So and create a brand that people can see in a positive light. Mm-hmm. That's reputation management. There's also a little bit more about expansion and diversification. So if you want to basically expand the breadth of the products and services, for example, this is common when companies acquire a suite of other businesses and they want to make their parent brand a little bit broader. That is a cause for rebrand. So expansion and diversification. Or in a lot of cases, you might just have an old brand.
Is that enough though? Because isn't there some value in having a brand that said, okay, we've been around for example, Coca-Cola. I would never, I would hope that Coca-Cola wouldn't be like, just because it's been around from 2 years after slavery ended inside the United States, not 2 years, it's no longer, that we should change it,
But if you notice their logo, I would say the Pepsi logo in particular jumps out at me.
That one has changed.
That has evolved over time.
Mm-hmm.
That has evolved over time. But there may not be a big shift in the way that the logo is presented, but there are minor shifts that help to keep the logo looking fresh. But in some cases, there may be a complete redesign. Case in point. Not to say that their image was outdated, but BTC did a complete revamp of their brand.
So my question, you mean the recent one that everybody made fun of, or are you talking about in general when they became BTC from being the telco? Because I was actually going to bring up the fact that locally...
Yeah, BTC and Batalco, those are, you have to do a rebrand at that point because it's literally not the same name.
Right, but now the question is, right, and I see it a lot where there's a lot of heat on a company or an organization and nothing changes internally, but aesthetically they'll change their name, right? And so you have, both names are still owned by the company. You have this company and it's like, oh, we're no longer that, we're this. And that was that, and to distance themselves from the negative view. So it's no longer BEC, it's BPL, because the people had a feeling about BEC before, but now we're a different company. Is that a fair reason to say we need to undergo a rebrand if you're trying to distance yourself specifically from the old...
Now, that wasn't exactly what happened there. Sure. I understand you're giving an example, because BEC still exists.
Yeah. No, I know. But all other companies still exist.
But okay. But I mean, we get the example you're giving. Yes.
Yeah.
Are those are reasons? Are they good reasons?
Well, it's up to the company or the organization to determine which one of those reasons is worth it to them to rebrand, right? Because rebranding is not an easy process. I mean, it's not like you wake up one day and you go, okay, we're just going to change the logo. There's a fair amount of work that goes into rebranding because you have to develop a brand strategy. That's the first thing. And Stephen, to your point about the company changing the name, but nothing else changes, the brand really extends not only to that outward-facing audience, so your customers and your external stakeholders, but also your internal stakeholders like your employees. They're really embodying the spirit of the brand. So if you have that facelift in terms of the visual communication, like the logo and the colors, but nothing else changes
you go in the store
on the inside of the organization, then you don't have a brand that's in alignment, which may have been the case before it rebranded.
All right, so back to what Stephen asked before, and you mentioned it. Okay, so just because you are now 50 years old or 100 years old, it's time to give us a little refresh. But there's got to be some dangers in that as well, though, especially if people had a good feeling about the company, if people liked the logo and felt comfortable with it or felt liked your image. What are the dangers of rebranding just for the sake of rebranding?
I think that most organizations don't do rebranding lightly, right? So it's not done for the sake of rebranding. When you consider, does this brand need a refresh? Firstly, the first place is like that many companies start with research. So if you are in an industry, let's say that you're in like a tech industry, for example, right? And you started your company, maybe this isn't a great example considering Apple, but if you started your company in 1990, right? And you came out with what you thought was a futuristic logo at the time. Your logo from 1990, which you thought was futuristic because you had like circuit boards in the logo, is stale now, right? But if you did marketing research, then you might identify that coming from the consumer side, even though that might also be the sentiment coming from your executive team. And especially if you have a marketing department or a senior marketing person that can say, hey guys, this logo is not presenting our brand as it is right now in terms of what we think and what we sell and the type of promise that we're making to our customers.
Because we don't even sell.
So that is the case. Pardon?
No, because we don't even sell transistors and circuit boards anymore.
Exactly. But so that's a really deep dive into really understanding what the brand is. But the first step is creating that brand strategy, because in addition to the visual change, you might want to update some of like the policies of the brand and the core values and the characteristics and things like that. Right. So then you have a strategy. Then you have to go through what's the name, what's the logo, what are the guidelines? How do we implement this across all of the touch points for the organization? So it's a really extensive process, but it is worth it in the end.
Right. So now, when you talk about the not just the brand guidelines, but like coming up with a brand strategy, I'm thinking locally, where sometimes a company, or I wouldn't even say ownership, management would change. And the management wants to establish that, hey, I'm different, or this isn't running the ship, right? How important is it when you sit down for this brand strategy to be like, to outline it, whether it's through the logo or through the new color scheme or however we are doing the outward facing stuff, how important is it to discuss what are the differences between yesterday and today? And let's not just make it about, I just don't want to see the stuff that other person came up with.
Yeah. That's a really big difference, because the strategy of a brand is very closely connected to communications and marketing, right? And really, at the end of the day, it's a promise that you're making. So if your brand and where you want it to go, you might want to draw the differences between what you were before and where you want to go. But the main focus needs to be on what is your brand about, and how do you want your customers and your stakeholders and your employees to think about it? Because those are the things that they will embody, right? So if you think through what are the values, what do you believe in, what are the products and services that you sell, what are the problems that you're solving for your customers, that should be what determines what your strategy is. It's not the whim of whomever is leading the company at that time, because that brand is supposed to build trust and confidence in the people who are going to engage with it and spend money with it and spend time with it.
All right. We need to take a break. When we come back, we'll get deeper into this. We're talking with Roy and Dean, talking about rebranding in this morning's Morning Brand segment. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us. We're back here on Guardian Radio.
You've tried everything. ASUS with your mother's cousin's sister's auntie, and even hiding your money under your mattress. But is your money safe? Your Bahamian dollar deposit in a member bank or credit union is insured up to $50,000. If anything happens, your deposit up to the insured value will be returned to you thanks to Deposit Insurance. Visit Deposit Insurance Corporation at www.dic.bs.
Protection for your money guaranteed with DIC.
Indulge in an experience that awakens your senses with Nescafe Gold. Premium Arabica coffee beans, carefully selected, roasted to perfection, and finely ground, resulting in a unique and unmatched flavor and aroma that captivates the senses. Enticing aroma, smooth taste. Elevate your coffee experience with Nescafe Gold.
My business couldn't survive without my credit card machine from Fidelity.
It's fast, convenient, and my clients love it.
My sales increase, and I can track my earnings.
Get your credit card machine from Fidelity today.
Call 356-7764.
We're gonna give you a check every week for a year. Percy's Pension Plan, Island Game, keep you winning. Percy's Pension Plan, dream big, we will help you live it. Percy's Pension Plan, Island Game, we got you. Percy's Pension Plan, from the friends you can trust. If winning is a must, come play the game you know, cause your best chance is with us. The most trustworthy name is Percy's Island Game. So put 20 on your account and ride this easy train at Percy's Island Game.
The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626 or 359-2394, email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. While Attorney General Ryan Pinder said he is certain the changes being made through legislation in the Bahamas to the financial services industry and the new reporting system set to come into effect will appease the EU, the European Union, causing it to strike the Bahamas from its blacklist. He is still certain that the EU will present this country with some other requirement that needs to be met. Pinder, speaking in the Senate yesterday, said the country must continue striving to do better than the EU does in its regulation of the financial services industry. The Bahamas signing a $10 million loan facility with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that will help the country to enhance the economic development of the tourism industry through the development of the Tourism Development Corporation's Business Incubation Center. The Ministry of Tourism, Investment and Aviation saying in a statement yesterday that the money will fund the construction and rehabilitation of facilities on New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma that will include delivery areas for tours and excursions, waiting rooms, and restrooms. It will also help to fund 50 small projects on New Providence, 25 projects on Grand Bahama, and 25 on Exuma. Deputy Prime Minister and Tourism Minister Chester Cooper saying that the funding will grow and enhance the tourism industry and empower entrepreneurs. Cooper led a 3-day mission to sign the contract for the loan. President of the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association, Robert Sands, telling members of the media yesterday that unreliable power generation and, in many instances, a lack of standby power generation is hurting the tourism product in the Family Islands. Sands says the issue is not the same for many large hotel properties in New Providence, which often have enough standby power to carry on their operations if BPL fails or conducting load shedding. According to Sands, many small Family Island hotels cannot supply 100% of their power in the event of a BPL failure, and many cannot supply any at all. He explained that many hotels in the Family Islands have begun to gradually introduce solar and other forms of alternative energy into their facilities in order to protect themselves from the shortfalls of BPL. And BISX, the Bahamas International Securities Exchange, announcing that it has successfully listed CFAL's Global Fixed Income after it completed the BISX mutual fund listing process. It said that the CFAL Global Fixed Income Fund is an open-end investment fund. The fund is limited liability company incorporated under the Companies Act of 1992. Details on that in today's Guardian Business section. Overseas, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and other companies that are leading the development of artificial intelligence technology have agreed to meet a set of AI safeguards brokered by U.S. President Joe Biden's administration. The White House saying today that it has secured voluntary commitments from 7 U.S. companies meant to ensure that their AI products are safe before they release them. Some of the commitments call for third-party oversight of the workings of commercial AI systems, though they don't detail who will audit the technology or hold the companies accountable. A surge of commercial investment in generative AI tools that can write convincingly human-like text and churn out new images and other media has brought public fascination as well about their ability to trick people and spread disinformation, among other dangers. The 4 tech giants, along with ChatGPT maker OpenAI, and startups Anthropic and Inflection, have committed to security testing carried out in part by independent experts to guard against major risks such as biosecurity and cybersecurity. The companies have also committed to methods for reporting vulnerabilities to their systems and to using digital watermarking to help distinguish between real and AI-generated images known as deep fakes. In your Market Watch recapping trading on the BISX from Thursday, your market movers. We've got Fidelity Bank moving 100 shares, closing at $18.25, up 75 cents. Focall moving 100, unchanged at $4.50. Consolidated Water down 13 cents, closing at $4.14. Emira Incorporated up 13 cents, closing at $10.10. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,564.18, unchanged. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report. Brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
ready to mash this party up. It's Rick and Script full non-stop. Hey! Rick and Script. Rick and Script. D-Max style. Rick and Script. Oh yeah. Rick and Script. I see you coming from a mile away, girl. Rick and Script. I see ya coming. Girl, I see ya. Hey! She says she's a real good girl. She only goes to church then home. I say I'm a real good guy like Rick and Script. I stay in my zone. She says she don't party hard. I tell her I'm a partier. She tell me she ain't no cutter, but she'll go out with me. She say that she drinks Calyx, but only 3, and then she's done. I tell her I wish they had Calyx or drips, so party can done. She tell me she's a friend to know. I tell her I'm the one to trust. I tell her when we go to the dance, it's only just 2 of us. So we reach to the dance and she say, this my song, then she hotel to the floor. She heads straight for the floor.
We're back here with Morning Blend Business. It's our monthly. Today we're talking about rebranding. We've got Roy Ann Dean with us, Dwight Strachan with Stephen Hanna, and having a great discussion. You can join the conversation as well, folks. 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259, or call us toll free 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. A little demon on my shoulders almost wants to say, invite people to call us to tell us who needs to rebrand around here. But no, don't do that, please. Please don't do that. Well, that'll be a fascinating discussion. But like we said earlier, a lot of people feel that after a certain milestone, you do need to rebrand. I remember when we turned 10, people were saying, "Oh, it's time to rebrand." Now I'm like, "What? Are you sure? Seriously?" I know you talk about doing the research. What are some of the things you need to look out for in that research? And how do you know it's just like not like people saying you need really a paint job or something, as opposed to how do you know the difference?
Well, first it would be like a not competitive analysis, but comparisons between the brand, so that organization's brand, and brands that are in a competitive space, right? Let's say, for example, in a really easy comparison there, you can look at food brands, right? When you go to the food store and you're looking to buy a product, there may be 5 brands of the same product. What's going to jump out at you to make you select that product? And so it's like research to say, okay, if you're looking at our organization next to the logo from another organization, or their marketing material, which is a part of their brand, how do we compare with that? And you can use that type of research as a part of how it is determined whether or not you need to rebrand, right? So you get firsthand feedback. Or it just might be that the executive team feels that the brand doesn't represent the company in the way that they want it to be represented, or how they want to position the company going forward. So those are the reasons for a rebrand. It doesn't mean that there's only one reason. There can be several reasons, or it could just be one primary reason. But it does involve a strategic approach, taking a strategic approach.
Can you think of any successful rebranding exercises here in the local market in the Bahamas in recent memory?
One that stands out, one that I noticed, and I thought, okay, they look like they put a lot of effort into it. I would say the Bahamas Development Bank. If you remember that logo, what was that, like maybe 2018, 2019? The logo was, well, first the bank started in the 70s around the time of independence. So it looked like the logos of the government corporations that started around that time. You know, there's usually some sort of there, you know, using the Bahamian colors, etc. And they wanted to move away from that. So they wanted to go with something that represented where the company or the organization wanted to go, how they wanted the public to perceive them. And I know I'm familiar with that particular brand in particular because that's one of the brands that we rebranded. So what we did was actually do research internally with that organization to understand how the employees thought about it. And the result of that was coming up with a few concepts, and then, that was a decision that was made in terms of which was selected by the executive team. But it is something that, you really have to do a lot of research with and understand, as I mentioned, what that brand is about. So I think that was a successful rebrand because it hit the needs for what the executive team, how they wanted to be perceived, right? Yeah. How they wanted people to think about them going forward. So if you look at their marketing material, they're all about orange economy, green economy development, and I think that their brand really reflects that. It's very fresh and it's open, and there's a lot of color involved. So that's one thing. And another company that I noticed is NUA. Have you noticed their new logo?
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very approachable. That NUA is an insurance company, but the logo, it just seems very friendly and approachable, and it gives you the idea that the service that you get is going to be what you need, and it's going to be done in a way that you want it to be done. Yeah. So those are two that really stand out to me.
Does a logo really make a difference? Does it really change how clients perceive you and how they feel about you? Does it, as opposed to customer service and the change in culture like we talked about earlier?
Yeah, the logo is one part of it, but the reason why the logo is important is because that's the first thing that people really come into contact with. I mean, really. And, Stephen mentioned BTC earlier. It came out, I saw so many memes. I was like, wow, people feel a way about this, It really impacts how you think about the organization, because when it was Batelco, there was one sort of feel around it, right? It was, remember that it had I think the logo actually had a phone in it.
I think so, yeah.
So it gave one type of impression, and then think about what you would think about the company if you saw them side by side, and there was one Batelco company with that logo, and then the new BTC company with this logo. Would you think that those are the same? Would you think that those companies offer the exact same service with the exact same products and the exact same type of people working there and customer service?
Not on a regular day, no.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very interesting.
So
very
it does play a role. It does play a role.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you can't ever get far from politics around here. This person is saying, this is a text, with all the infighting going on, the F&M might soon have to rebrand. Oh boy. But let's talk about it. Parties, organizations like that. They don't often rebrand, do they? They just change some faces and some names.
There are. I guess you might call it a refresh. So the actual logo doesn't change necessarily, right? But the way that it's presented changed. So there may be minor modifications to the logo to make it look more modern. I think the PLP did that in not this last election, but the election before. And I remember because it was a very, very different look and feel that their campaign had. This was the Believe in Bahamians campaign, and it was like a very, very dark background. It was very modern, and I remember that. So that's one way that they didn't change the brand, but they refreshed it. So it had a very modern feel to that campaign because there were like big billboards up on the side of buildings and things. And I remember thinking, oh, this actually looks pretty good.
Wow, yeah.
So that person with I'm speaking about the infighting. That may, that's a problem that may be beyond a rebrand, but
Is it though? I mean, like it's I think in the situation, to further to your point, with political parties, they are one of those groups or sectors that would want to benefit from saying, well, we've been around for this long, so they don't want to redo the whole thing, but at the same time, they do want to, like how Apple's will modernize, so it goes from a very complicated logo, then it's just multicolored, and now it's just a simple flat Apple, and that. Wait, actually, is it 3? Is it 3. Is it Web 3.0 now again, or? Anyway, doesn't matter. The whole point is you keep it in the same range, but like you just keep updating it or refreshing it.
Yeah,
like,
you refresh it too.
Political parties do the same thing where they're not going to necessarily say, oh, well, the torch is old or the crab is old, so throw that away. Let's do something brand new. They're like, no, we want to hold on to that, but how can we make this slightly modern?
Yeah.
How can you make it relevant?
Right. Some interesting messages coming in. Somebody says here, can your guest please explain the silliness behind a rebrand? Like how headline news is not headline news anymore, it's HLN, or New Kids on the Block is now NKOTB. Well, I'll let you answer, Roy and Stephen, if you want, but it says it right there in the name, right? The headline news stopped being headline news a long time ago, and that was one of the main reasons why they went to HLN.
It's like KFC.
Right, they sell more than just chicken, right? So that's why they did that, and I think that's part of the reason for Patelco as well, because they're not just telephone anymore, and they weren't just telephone.
The thing is, I hear you, but that's telecommunications is more than telephones.
Yes, right. As Royanne said, Patelco, there was an actual phone in the logo.
Yeah.
So
but I'm saying telecommunications as a term means more than just telephones. But
right, but again, it is really modernizing that brand, right? Because you weren't thinking telecommunications company when you said Patelco. Like literally, there was a phone in the logo, right? So that represents you immediately know this is like a phone, and it was an old phone at that.
Right.
So
it was.
You want to modernize it, but going to the question from the texter about shortening those names. Yes, that is a case where that brand, that organization wants to expand what it's offering. So who said KFC? Because that's a really good example.
Stephen.
Kentucky Fried Chicken is like, does what it says on the tin, basically. But they want to expand more than that and not just be known as like Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now this is more like there's like a family focus. They're selling biscuits, they're selling, corn.
In some places they sell grilled chicken. Like in some markets they sell grilled chicken. In some markets they sell vegan chicken. So it's like
they occasionally have been selling fish here, right?
Yeah, exactly. So as they have global expansion, that expands really what they can sell that may be specific to different markets. So it does allow more diverse offerings under that brand.
Yeah.
Right.
Without losing the original.
You still retain the essence of what the brand is about.
Yeah. And then sometimes it backfires, right? You can think of Burger King, who was focusing on BK for the longest, but to their Burger King, they even went back to their old logo because they felt like I think that they were losing
brand recognition.
Yeah, and were out of touch with the customers who remembered them more fondly a few years ago. Not necessarily the local market.
Yeah.
No, they went back. They've gone back. Everything, if you go back and look, they're all back to the old logo.
No, I know the logo went back to the vintage logo, but
it's still back to Burger King.
Where have I been hearing it?
Yeah. I think we might have some things on the menu still called BK and that kind of stuff. But the other thing about the New Kids on the Block, they're also very old men now. So, if they are still performing NKOTB, it probably...
But also, don't forget...
Which, you know what? It's kind of funny that was one of the examples provided, considering the person went from, headline news to New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, but also, you have to remember that in the world that we live in today, read the headline, Dwight. What's the headline? AG Blast EU. Referencing
everyone just loves, right.
Because everything,
that's what we're doing.
We live in a digital age where it's and people have short attention spans. You have a very short amount of time.
Start calling you
to
SH.
Good luck, right? You have a short amount of time to get as much information out there as possible. So if you could abbreviate things, and even that's a part of the instant message culture where it's like LOL, TDRL. What is it? Is it? Yeah, too long, did not read. all these different
Yep.
there are a bunch of abbreviations that
A
exist.
couple of those are actually longer than saying the words out, though, which is really hilarious to me. You know?
Right. Also,
But
LOL
this
doesn't
is-
make sense
this
because
is-
you
but
don't
you know,
laugh
but
out loud. You
those
laugh
things
aloud.
came about. Those things actually came about through texting
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and like shortcuts for texting.
But because
I think another example, which is one of the first cases that I remember about something like that, was remember when Puffy was called Puff Daddy?
No, but
Then he became like Diddy,
yeah,
right?
right.
But his whole explanation for that, which cause he said he wanted to feel closer to the fans. So it's not 2 words, just 1 word. But this is kind of like the essence of that, right? You want to modernize, you want to feel more, or the brand to feel more contemporary, and it could potentially expand your base because that gives you more leeway to say more things. You're not constricted by that whatever mold you'd set. That if you say your Kentucky Fried Chicken, if they wanted to sell Kunk at KFC, they could.
They had chicken sauce at one point, so.
Oh,
you don't remember?
No,
You don't remember?
Some tried to forget, but right. So, all right. So,
I applaud them. For trying.
for the effort. A for effort.
Yeah.
Sure. So, is there like a book? Is there a school to go to know how to do mess up, how to not?
There are tons
get
of them.
Get the fans and the customers and the clients so angry they're like, what are you doing?
You can't do that in the Bahamas. Understand? No matter what.
Don't rebrand?
If you rebrand in the Bahamas, somebody will not like it. And that's
But
okay.
it's not just the Bahamas. That's anywhere, right? Because look, at the end of the day, anything that has a creative component is subjective, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is going to be very difficult to please everyone that's going to look at the logo because inevitably, no matter what the result is, no matter how long the process was, no matter how thorough the process was, people are gonna somebody's gonna pan it, right? So I just had this conversation the other day about the I Love New York logo. So you're familiar with that. I think most people are familiar with that. It literally says I and then there's a heart and then NY. It's iconic. It was invented, I think in the 50s or the 60s by an iconic designer, graphic designer. And that's been the logo for New York for forever. And it's really associated with the city. And that was just rebranded to We Love New York, different font, and it's using we instead of I. And people hated it.
Why did they change it to we?
Rebranded in March. Pardon?
Why did they change it to we?
Community.
I guess. But
okay.
The point is that this is a major, major, major change, and this wasn't done at the drop of a hat. People hate, but you can read more about that on our insight at onwardtogether.com.
Okay, and that is ONWRD.
And you know what? There's another there's an A in it. This
That's
column
very
must be
interesting.
curious. Yeah, it doesn't have the A in it.
Very interesting.
So
RD.
you know that there are words like that that don't have, they're missing a vowel, but the way that your eyes read it,
Yeah.
you know what it says.
Right. Randy, a very interesting conversation. Thank you so much, as always, for being here with us on Morning Brand. Before we go, this text, based on the previous hour where we were talking about, this person says here, the Bahamas has an abundance of talented playwrights, but we have limited production runs, hardly consistent. I challenge the community to start making productions continuous and demand support from the government and public. All right, so you're saying, what are you saying? The plays, the runs are too short? Or you're saying we need to have more plays? Well, okay. I think you heard it before. Decided, very bold move. She was an accountant and decided to go full-time into music. Many people don't have that luxury and can't do it. And, aren't going to be able to afford to do it. So that's part of the problem there. I think people would love to do this. Full-time, year-round plays. But we got a little ways to go before we can get there. What were you saying, Royanne?
That's a creative industry conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And that in any country, those, in terms of like the cultural industries, do get subsidies from the government. They get support from the private sector.
Yeah.
That's basically the reason why they're not profit-making ventures in general.
Well,
so it does require support from the private and the public sector.
They
outside of Broadway, you mean?
They can be,
yeah.
But the thing is that once again, and we can't start this conversation at 10 o'clock, guys. But like they can be, but it's like you need an overhaul in terms of how business in general is run, because a play, each individual play, is a business by itself. You're supposed to go and register that as a business play. Then you can sell shares of it, just like you would sell shares for Apple or Facebook or whatever. You say, hey, Ryan, you want to help me put on this play? Each share is $50. Buy 10 shares. Now I got $500. I think that's how much it is from you. And then I get some money from Dwight. We put on that. And when the ticket sales come in, then you guys get paid back out of that. That's how it's supposed to work, and that's how it's supposed to operate. But that requires ease of doing business. That requires a structure to be in place, even in terms of insurance and liability and all these different things. There's a lot that has to go in place ahead of time, and that's not even to mention you need a venue,
right?
Right,
and these folks are
and
struggling, right?
And he just told you in the last segment, hey, one place is in disrepair, and the other place, only the Lord knows where that put you.
Yeah.
Right? Because like Shirley Sheet together, I ain't seen nothing there in years.
You probably don't want to see what's in there. So we've got a lot of issues, texters. It's not as simple as you think. Way to get there. We would love to all see it, I'm sure.
We can.
But we can get there. We can. But we're going to have
part of it is
the government's going to have to get on board and be committed.
Several buildings downtown Nassau, and bequeath it to entertainment
entertainment zone. The area is ripe for this type of development. As you said, the entertainment district, the potential is unbelievable. That could become the profit center for all of downtown. And it doesn't have to be only downtown, as Freddie Money said as well.
When I say produce, we need to produce something so that we can get out of the stranglehold of the EU.
Yes.
That is one of the things you produce. Because here's the thing. All us out here watching John Wick and Barbie, and that was not made in the Bahamas. That's a product that somebody is importing into the Bahamas, and the money is going out of the Bahamas to pay for it.
Yeah.
We could be doing the exact same thing. You do something once and get paid for it for the rest of your life, but once again, the structure has to be in place.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. Ryan, again, thank you. Great discussion. And Stephen Hanna, always a pleasure. See you next week. I'll be back on Monday with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great one, everybody. On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
You think you're fooling? Oh, no.